Did you also get a visit from federal law enforcement?
I did get, the U.S. Marshals showed up at my office down in Houston.
Yeah. Do you remember what day that was?
Maybe October 1st.
Who was the first? Federal marshals were at your office?
They came by my office.
Who was the first person you contacted?
I called Mr. Paxton, blowing his phone up. Like, why are there U.S. Marshals at my office?
How many times you called him?
Probably 5-6 times, text messaging, and he answered his phone.
On the fifth time?
One of the times.
All right. And how often were you calling him until you got him?
Well, my secretary comes back and says, there's U.S. Marshals here at the office, and I'm like, what? What's going on? And then I just start blowing his phone up until he answers it.
In your mind, certainly, had you done anything wrong that would merit anybody in law enforcement coming to see you, in your mind?
No, sir.
All right. So the first person you called was the Attorney General?
Yes, sir.
And when you got him, what did he say?
He told me don't talk to him without counsel.
So he told you to get a lawyer before you talk to them?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you talk about the merits or anything of why they were there? Do this. What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
Yeah, I said there's U.S. Marshals at my office. What is this all about? And he told me, well, don't talk to him without a lawyer. I don't know what it's about either.
Okay.
And then hung up the phone.
He hung up the phone, or you hung up?
I don't remember. We both hung up the phone and went out there and greeted those gentlemen and went to my conference room, and I said, hey, with all due respect, I can't talk to you without having a lawyer present, but can I have a business card? And I got the business card from those two gentlemen, took a picture of it, and I sent it to Mr. Paxton. I said, these are the guys who showed up at my office, and that was that.
All right. What's the next thing that happened to you in connection with this?
I had sent my invoice back to Mr. I got a cease and desist letter, and I send my invoice back over, and then I get an email the following day from Jeff Mateer.
And what did Mr. Tear tell you?
They sent me another cease and desist letter, accusing me of crimes and all this other stuff. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here?
All right. And then at some time, did you go back to Mr. Vassar with the request to be paid, and that he responded to you?
They said there was no valid contract, and so I sent him the contract that I had for Mr. Paxton.
And all along, had you believed you had a valid contract?
Yes, sir.
And when you sent him the valid contract, was it signed? Who was it signed by?
It was signed by Mr. Paxton.
The one you sent back to him?
The one that they said that I didn't have a valid contract. I sent him the contract that I had for Mr. Paxton, with Mr. Paxton's signature on it.
Was Mr. Paxton's signature on the one you sent them?
The one that I sent them. I'm sorry.
When did you get a contract that had Mr. Paxton's signature?
I believe I got that on September 28th.
How had that happened?
So this was about the time that I'm getting ready to go with the subpoenas, and I still don't have my badge or credentials, and I was talking with Michael Wynn about it, and I was kind of frustrated at the time, because I'm like, well, I'm supposed to go serve subpoenas and do this work. I don't even have my credentials, which my contract, don't have a badge. I don't have a governmental email address. And Mr. Wynn asked me, I guess, well, send me over your agreement. And I had planned on coming out to Austin the following day to come do these subpoenas. So I get out to Austin to go over to...
Now, let's put a day on it. What day do you get to Austin?
That was on the 28th.
All right, the 28th would be a Monday.
September 28th.
All right. And you arrive in Austin on the 28th, and what happened when you got... Who do you go to see?
I'm meeting over at Nate Paul's office, and Michael Wynn is there.
All right. And what do you find when you get there?
My contract was there on the table.
And was it signed by whom?
Myself and Mr. Paxton.
Had you ever seen a contract signed by Mr. Paxton before September the 28th?
No, sir.
And in fact, all this time that you thought you had a valid contract, did you have a contract that was only signed by you?
I sent Mr. Vassar my signed copy back on the 4th and said, please send me back an executed contract. And I never got one. You know, I didn't know.
I just want to make sure real quickly here. You got back from you sent Mr. Vassar your contract, which had only your signature on the 4th. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then, from then until the 28th in Mr. Paul's office, did you ever see a contract that had the Attorney General's signature on it?
No, sir.
And when was it that you complained to the Attorney General, if you did, that you did not have a contract signed by him? When was the last time you did that before you saw it on the 28th?
I don't recall the exact date, but I had told him about a badge, you know, credentials, and email address, and so I just never received it.
On the morning of the 28th before you left, did you have a conversation to go up there? Early in the morning, did you have a conversation with Mr. Wynn?
I did.
And what did you tell Mr. Wynn?
I believe he had texted me the night before and said, you know, because I was frustrated, so I was telling him I don't have my credentials, like meaning my contract or my badge or any of that. So he texted me. I think I was already sleeping, and he said, "Send me your contract." So I wake up at like 5 a.m. and I send it to him.
The contract you sent to Mr. Wynn early that morning,
about 5 a.m.
5 a.m. had only your contract, your signature?
Yes, sir.
All right.